SuperTalk Mississippi media production.
What's up? Welcome in on this Thursday night to the Rebel Report podcast. My name is Michael Borky. Always appreciate you being here. And tonight we are talking about the obvious. The fight for Trinidad Chambliss' eligibility is not done yet technically, although I don't think anybody from the Ole Miss or Chambliss side is actually worried about anything that happened today or any of this at all, but something still happened, so we will talk about that tonight and whatever else comes up in the comments as well. Also, season opener. Kind of figured that this was coming. They left the day open. There was some, well, you know, it could be the 5th, could be the 6th, and Ole Miss getting the time slot by itself on the 6th. So the game has been moved to Sunday, the season opener, Sunday, September 6th in Nashville at 6:30 on ABC. I'm somebody that pays attention to ratings. I think ratings are interesting for whatever reason. It's just something I pay attention to and I'm interested in. A solo time slot on ABC on that Sunday will draw a huge television number. A big rating will come for that game between Ole Miss and Louisville. Being by itself, not competing with the NFL, getting the big network treatment. So that's a really good thing that game got moved. Interestingly enough, 2 non-Saturday games for Ole Miss this year. The first game and the last game of the regular season are not on Saturday. So obviously Sunday with Louisville and then, of course, Black Friday with Mississippi State. So interesting news there. Obviously baseball upcoming this weekend, but it's Evansville, a team that's RPI is down in the 200s, just watching for clean baseball. And what I want to see this team do this weekend is manufacture runs. They do not score off of base hits. They don't manufacture offense. It's a team that is going to hit a lot of home runs. We knew that going into the season, but I would like to see them manufacture offense a little bit more this weekend because they can't go over with runners in scoring position next weekend in Austin and think they're coming away with even one win, let alone 2 or possibly 3. So we'll talk about the Trinidad thing tonight. Again, my name is Michael Borky. I'm so glad that you're here. Don't forget to subscribe wherever you get your podcast. Just search Rebel Report wherever you get them and subscribe and leave a rating and a review. And also right here on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. I would really appreciate you doing that. I'm so glad that you're here. And I'm so glad that Logan Smith, Shelter Insurance, is with me as always. And he will take care of you if you need home insurance, auto insurance, life, or business. Home, auto, life, or business anywhere in Mississippi. Logan Smith or his team at Shelter and his team at Shelter Insurance will take care of you. Give him a call at 601-823-3500. 601-823-3500. Even if you have that kind of insurance, it's still worth the phone call. Check him out, Logan Smith, Shelter Insurance. So you knew this was coming. At least I think you did. The NCAA appealed the injunction ruling granting Trinidad Chambliss his eligibility. Pete Thamel, I believe, was first. Here's what he said. News, the NCAA is appealing the Trinidad Chambliss preliminary injunction, which granted him eligibility for the 2026 season in a 658-page filing to the Mississippi State Supreme Court today. The NCAA is asking the court to overrule the injunction and expedite the ruling, which is absolutely freaking hilarious that the NCAA is asking for anybody to move fast, considering something that I'll bring up here in a little bit. Don't let me forget if I don't. Mississippi State had a player today find out. Well, I guess the news broke today. He may have found out a couple of days ago, but it just came out today that Mississippi State had a player that played Division II and is now playing or trying to play Division I. The NCAA told him he cannot play by applying the 2022, I think it's 2022, Division II rules and applying them to today. He played in 4 games. They're not giving him the year. He has chosen not to fight it. He's just going to move on and try to go to the NFL. But it's March. it's March when they find this out. And not only does it adversely affect and has it adversely affected the athlete, he could not go to any of the All-Star games or anything. So his opportunity to get drafted is much less than it would have been had he known. But also the team is screwed, for lack of a better phrase. And then they turn around and give 8th and 9th years to guys and ask for an expedited trial to block Trinidad. But they turn around and are applying an old Division II rule to a Division I player, and they're different. The fact that they're even different at all shows just how impossibly incompetent, and the fact that people defend this organization at all is mind-numbing to me. But on what planet is it acceptable that under the NCAA's umbrella that Division II have different standards for redshirt than Division I? Why is that acceptable? And why are you applying that standard from 22 to a player that's looking for that year? Now, none of it makes any sense at all, and it's harming the player, but they talk about student athletes and opportunities and all that crap, and they deny this player. They fight against Trinidad, but a guy at Montana gets a 9th year, and a guy at Miami gets an 8th year. It's total nonsense, and I can't believe people are willing to defend this organization in their inconsistent fight, in their arbitrarily, or their years and years and years of arbitrarily enforcing rules in inconsistent ways. It's pathetic that people defend them. And the Mississippi State news today, actually, it bothered me that this guy cannot play. It makes no sense at all. It is not fair to him at all, but that's the NCAA for you. Anyway, it continues. The NCAA is petitioning the court to review the trial court's order per the filing. I can't talk tonight. It's fine. Quote, if courts can intervene in NCAA eligibility decisions to provide special treatment to favored athletes, then the NCAA's ability to ensure fair athletic competition in which all participants play by the same rules will depend on the whims of trial courts throughout the country, end quote. The rich part about that quote is they say in the quote that if the court gets involved, athletes will get treated differently and all participants will not follow the same set of rules. Whereas in the Trinidad trial, the NCAA attorney admitted that had he still been at Division II, he would have been granted his red shirt. So the NCAA attorney argues if he would have stayed at Division II, he would have been granted the red shirt. But since he went over here, the rules are different. So hey, guys, the rules are being inconsistently applied. They admit that in trial, and then they turn around and file an appeal and say, well, if we don't win, rules will be applied inconsistently, when they admit that they apply their rules inconsistently. It's the damnedest thing. But also in this, here's an excerpt of it. This is really so funny to me. This is a screenshot from, or a paragraph from the filing. And apparently this is the heart of their filing, because an NCAA attorney told the reporter from ESPN to call this that. Quote, moreover, NCAA members and student athletes will be irreparably harmed in the absence of winning this appeal. The preliminary injunction provides respondent with an additional year of eligibility that is unavailable to other student athletes under NCAA bylaws. Pause for a second. The medical red shirt is available to other student athletes. It's been a thing for a very long time. That's just a lie, is what that is. But whatever. Continuing. Under the trial court's order, the University of Mississippi will enjoy the benefit of rostering a star quarterback who is no longer eligible to compete. That's not what a judge said. Such an outcome is unfair to D1 schools who follow the rules and must compete against Ole Miss for the 2026-2027 D1 football season. Notice how they keep saying D1. Or who may be displaced from postseason competition by Ole Miss. That harm cannot be undone through a decision that follows a final judgment on the merits. Additionally, the injunction order threatens to harm Ole Miss, or the University of Mississippi, as rostering an ineligible quarterback risks sanctions under the NCAA's, quote, rule of restitution, And the other quarterbacks on the University of Mississippi's roster who would have the opportunity to start or otherwise compete in contests next season will also be harmed if respondent takes that opportunity away from them. So they are in part using but the backup quarterback could be like, would somebody please think about Deuce Knight here is what they're saying in this. But also as part of the ruling, the NCAA's rule of restitution cannot be applied here. And it's, if they try, it's very likely against the law anyway. So there's that on top of it all. But that is a hysterical argument that they are making. But moreover, as we told you after Trinidad won the trial or won his injunction, I asked a lawyer friend of mine to send me, hey, what's an appeal look like? And I read it verbatim to you guys. Got a couple legal words incorrect in that reading as well. But I texted him again today as like hey, the NCAA filed an appeal, what's up with that? And his response was, if the Mississippi Supreme Court, if they hear it at all, if they even hear this, he said he would be so surprised that he would cut his foot off and burn his house down. That was the expression that was used. Made me laugh so hard. The threshold that the NCAA would have to meet in order to get an injunction appealed is impossibly high, apparently. I don't know that. I'm not a lawyer, but that is how it was described to me, that the likelihood of this happening is not 0.00%, but it's much closer to that than 100%. It's not going to happen. Trinidad Chambliss is going to play quarterback for Ole Miss this year. And this is just a cute headline for the NCAA to have. And what's so interesting about this, guys, and what I can't quite figure out is maybe I spend too much time online. Maybe it's a me problem. But the way that this was reacted to again today, there was even a Barstool article about it that was like, maybe he should just consider going to the NFL at this point. And maybe I shouldn't talk like this in part because, I'm quote unquote so close to it that I've had to talk to more people about this to learn more about it. And every ounce of feedback that I've gotten is this isn't going to matter. But the reaction to this was the discourse around college football right now is odd to me. It's like emotional reactionary and very few people actually kind of using their brains and going through like a typical thought process of, okay, is this big news or not? I know Thamel's getting his clicks out of it and stuff like that. And I get why the media reports it the way they do. And, they do favors for, certain people to report it in a certain way. And in return, they'll get a scoop for something later on. That's kind of how that works. So that got sensationalized a little bit. But like the bro just needs to go to the NFL at this point. Oh my gosh, I can't. This saga will never end. And should he just consider going to the NFL? No, he should not. This was an expected thing. The Mississippi Supreme Court is very, very unlikely to hear this within the time frame, even if they do, necessary to block him from playing. And the likelihood of them ruling in favor of the NCAA in this is impossibly small. Nothing changed today, really, other than, they filed it, but none of the expectations changed at all. The percent chance that he's going to play quarterback for Ole Miss has not changed one bit. This was an expected thing. They were going to do it. Their odds, they being the NCAA's odds of actually this getting anywhere are such a long shot that beyond tonight, it's not going to be worth talking about with you guys. But that's not the way that the college football world reacted to this. It's very, very bizarre. I think the internet and like the algorithms are creating an ecosystem where just big emotional sweeping statements are what get you noticed and get your views and stuff. Maybe I'm doing it wrong. I don't know. But what I'm telling you is this is nothing has changed in terms of the expectations for him to play quarterback for Ole Miss in 2026. This hasn't changed anything at all. It's a cute little headline for the NCAA, but that's all that it is. And again, I say, when they took this thing to court, when they took this thing to trial, they had the opportunity to prove or at least create a compelling case against Trinidad Chambliss in his medical red shirt. They chose to not refer to a medical expert of any kind. None. Zero. None. They chose to not call a witness of any kind. None. Zero. None. So the Chambliss side argued that he was too sick to play. They had 91 pages of medical records, notes from coach and physician that were coaching him or treating him at the time. And they brought in an ENT expert to explain how that could have incapacitated him. And the NCAA did none of those things, not one of those things. And so when they do that, and they then turn around and argue that cases like this one can cause irreparable harm to the college football world, anybody that has actually watched this or has read about this or is thinking about it critically, there's no way that you can look at this and think that this is the tipping point, that this is the case, that this is the player, that this is the thing that is a bridge too far for the NCAA. When you already have former pros, not even Bediako, he lost, but you have former pros playing right now. You've got 8th and 9th year players playing right now. You've got players that are, everybody knows, was getting paid thousands upon thousands upon thousands of dollars publicly to show up for a visit during this last portal session. You've got all of this stuff going on, and you didn't even try to win this case. And then you say that if Trinidad's allowed to play, it will damage you forever, when you did not even try to argue against what was wrong with him. You didn't even present a case, and yet people just sit back and have not consumed any of it or whatever, and they think that the NCAA has a leg to stand on here. And they don't at all. This is not Bediako. This is not Joey Aguilar. This is a player trying to obtain a medical red shirt who presented documentation, who the NCAA admitted that if he had stayed in Division II, he would be playing this year without issue. And yet, here we are fighting to the death to stop this player from being eligible because you claim it will ruin your ability to govern. It's nonsense, and the reaction to it's been emotional and crazy. And I guess that is college football media today. I mean, that's what it is. That is college football media today. Weird reaction to all of this. This is not Bediako. This is none of that. If you would just consume anything beyond the tweets about this case. But that's too much to ask for some people. We'll read your comments after I tell you the podcast is brought to you in part by Priority One Bank. They make you their priority every single day. With their online banking platform, it's a one-stop shop. All you need is an internet connection, and you can do whatever it is that you need to do with your money, because that's what they do. It's in the name, at Priority One Bank. Also, Advantage Business Systems, absms.com, for all of your Mississippi office technology needs. All right, good to see you guys. No fight. It's all a show on the NCAA's part so that they can run to Congress telling on the big bad states that call them out. Yeah, that was my take at the time. I mean, after I watched the trial, I came on here with you guys and said the same thing on the radio show. It was performative. The NCAA fighting this is performative. It is not. They're not. Clearly, they did not try to actually win. They put on a show. They put on a performance so they can go to Congress and say, we tried. I said that at the time. I see other people are catching on too. I love that because that's what happened. Shout out to the chat. Yeah, good to see you guys. You say it's no worry. 6 out of the 7 judges are Ole Miss grads, LFG. Here's what I would say to that, though. I'm not a thought leader or anything like that. I would encourage Ole Miss fans to stop with that, because that, I guess rhetoric is the right word, but that talking point, that's a better phrase, implies corruption. When you say things like that, it takes away from the merit of the case. And you're contributing to that. It's already out there in the discourse, and you already had a judge get emotional when reading the decision anyway, which, if we're being honest, was not a particularly good look. Sorry if that offends. It's just true. That's not a good look, because the merits of the case are really compelling. The merits of the case are actually in Trinidad's favor. The way it went down is actually in his favor. So when you reduce it to, well, the judges are your Ole Miss grads, you are shining a light on, or you're taking the light away from the facts and pointing it into, well, we're corrupt and proud of it. That's not the angle that I would take. There's real merit to his argument. There's real precedent with the medical red shirt to prove it without having to go that direction. You're kind of delegitimizing your situation by talking like that, because anybody that's actually read about this or consumed it sees that there is merit and sees that the ruling that he got was just and sees that the NCAA's appeal is really lacking. So don't go down that road, because you're contributing to the garbage discourse around this and the dishonest discourse around this. You're delegitimizing your own position by talking like that. You like my playoff expansion thoughts? The only way 2014 would work is to shorten the regular season to 10 games. Well, that's never happening. But I hear you. So glad we no longer live in the age of exemplary compliance with Ole Miss leadership. I can't help but wonder how the previous NCAA mess would have turned out had they not had a backbone. And the same thing applies with the tampering situation. Don't have an update on that yet. I know people are talking about how this is likely not going to go anywhere. I mean, we brought it up a few weeks ago that, there's talk that Ole Miss has evidence that Clemson tampered with Ferrelli. I'm not, a strategist, and I certainly don't have an attorney in my back pocket. If I had that, it would be out by now. You're not going to call me out the way that you did if you did the same thing without me making sure everybody knows about it. So I'm curious if that's real or not, because if Ole Miss actually has something on Clemson, it would be out there by now if it were me. In your opinion, what percentage chance would you give Trinidad not playing for Ole Miss next season? 1%. The amount of people who have done little to no research on this topic is crazy. And it makes you wonder, too, when they're covering things that are not related to something that you're very familiar with, what are they doing? And also, big media, the scoops people, it's obvious that they do it's part of the business, but they essentially copy paste what they're told to say often. You're seeing it with Schefter right now in the combine. An agent told him to defend his boy, and Schefter's doing that without even thinking about it. He's just doing it, right? Because that's what you got to do in the scoops business. So, sometimes they just copy and paste things that they're told to say, and I think that's part of it here. The NCAA's whims are most likely influenced by unseen people / money. When things don't make sense, it's usually money. I think it's as simple as they want to go to Congress to say, see, we tried. No disrespect to the majority of sports media, but the lack of true investigative journalism on stuff like this has allowed the NCAA to survive this long. Absolutely. There is I think it's obvious that a lot of people are unwilling to upset the apple cart, I guess would be the expression to use. There's a lot of people in sports media that are unwilling to be honest about certain things because they'll lose their access. They won't get their special interview. They won't get the scoop. Those kind of things won't happen if you're not honest about things. And so national people, now some of them do. Some of them do give honest commentary, but especially the people in the scoops business, you're not going to get the next scoop if you're going to come out here and bash the NCAA. Tom Mars's quote about that was funny, by the way. He doesn't seem really bothered by the filing today, but that you have, and I've noticed it with coaches and things like that, you have an unwillingness to call a spade a spade. You witness that with the CAA stuff and College Game Day and Kiffin. My goodness, I mean, you guys saw that firsthand, how easily controlled the messaging is in college sports. They really don't want to play against Chambliss. He's that big of a threat. I wouldn't want to play against him. The NCAA's law firm just got a massive billable hours boost, writing 600 pages of nonsense that will go nowhere. Congrats to them, really. Yeah, well, billable hours, undefeated. The NCAA doing NCAA things. It just eats at them that Ole Miss might win the Natty. The bias is real. I think that, I mean, they fought Aguilar, right? And if Aguilar would have won, and his case was a lot less compelling than this one. I mean, they fought other things. I think they're just losing their grip and they know it. And they're just trying to appeal to Congress. Any news on a Pete presser anytime soon? Thought we would get one before spring ball. Well, spring ball is 12 days away. I would assume and hope that there is one before then. I have not gotten anything from the school on that yet. I don't think that they have announced their spring practice schedule to the media. I'm looking right now and no, but I will let you know, and we will bring it here. The NCAA loves paying lawyer fees for nothing. I mean, it's a very expensive loss that they're taking on this. ESPN in large part is to blame for the current online sports discourse when you replace unbiased journalism for hot take clickbait viewership, pondering wannabe media stars, you get this discourse. My concern is it's bleeding into the college football in particular, but the college sports media space. I think that there's a particular big media company that has really good, hardworking people that work for it, that try to do a good job, and the reporters do good reporting, and the commentators do good, informed commentating. And the business model for that company is by and large bad for sports media, where they don't particularly care about anything other than generating engagement. That just get engagement. And again, there's a lot of people that work at this particular company that do a really good job. But I think the people in charge at the top of said company are creating a business model that is really bad for the future of sports media. That's a little harsh, but it's what I believe. Anything on the spring game yet? Nothing. I don't think there's going to be a normal one, but how would you grade Ole Miss baseball to this point? How would I grade Ole Miss baseball to this point? B-. B-, being the worst fielding team in the SEC again. I mean, honestly, B- is probably not right. C+. They're the worst fielding team in the SEC as of right now. They haven't really played a particularly difficult schedule, and the two best teams they've played have beaten them. I don't think they manufacture enough offensively right now. I do think they're going to pitch the hell out of it and will continue to do that. But again, they've lost to the two best teams they've played. Or at least I think those are the two best teams they've played. And again, bad in the field, don't manufacture enough runs. They got a lot of improving to do. There are some warts. Now, they're talented. I don't want to say that, they're about to lose 20 conference games or anything. I'm not anywhere close to that, but there's a lot to like, and then there's a lot to have questions about. Did I mute myself on accident? I muted myself on accident. My bad. 24 teams does dilute the playoff a little, but on the other side, it gives more fan bases reasons to stay invested longer. The FCS does this and it works. Why can't we? The FCS has a much more even playing field than the FBS would be my response to that. You understand why coaches want it, though? Job security? Yeah. I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah. Hey and bye. He couldn't stay, but hit the like button. I appreciate you. The NFL added a regular season game and bumped their schedule from 16 to 17 games. What's stopping college football from going from 12 to 13? Player safety, I guess, would be the answer. Especially now that they keep expanding the playoff. We can't trust Congress to do anything, but we can trust them to fix college football, please. Oh, yeah, just look at the roster of people that are showing up to this summit thing tomorrow. Ole Miss does have something on Clemson. The analogy is called be quiet and walk with a big stick. Ole Miss has been good at that so far. They have, but the narrative on tampering was, only about Ole Miss and how it's only them that does it. And they tampered with the one program that doesn't. And they took a lot of bullets for the state of college football. And just to ignore that entirely is an interesting decision. But if they got something good, what is preventing a power conference breakaway at this point? The willingness to actually do it. But I think that day is getting closer and closer. You're seeing with this pooling of the media rights and the Big Ten and the SEC not wanting to do it and everybody else wanting to do it. That day is coming. That day is coming. What happens to the ACC and the Big 12 when it happens? Depends on what the SEC and the Big 10 want. They probably pick the teams they want to bring with them that the TV network says have value, and everybody else gets screwed. Missed the opening. Did you tell who hit you on your nose? I don't know if you're trying to be funny or not. I have a skin condition. Sometimes it flares up, and it's flaring up right now. So yes, my face is marked up. It does happen. I'm really insecure about it, but there's nothing I can do about it because it's quite literally on my face, and I'm sure as hell not wearing makeup or anything. So I'm doing the best I can, and it is what it is. I'm going to look like this sometimes. Here, look, I'll show you. I don't know if the light showed it or not, but yeah, it happens, man. And I've seen a dermatologist about it. They gave me some stuff, and I could get something more intense, but I can't afford it. And so this is what I got to deal with. When the worst pitcher at the moment's Hunter Elliott, I'd say the pitching's okay. Yeah, I think they're going to pitch the hell out of it. I'm not worried about that. That's one thing about this team that I'm very confident in, is I think they're going to pitch it. Sick of Ole Miss being the poster child for things like tampering, faking injuries, paying players, etc. When everyone else does it, I want a media offensive. See, that's kind of what I'm talking about. There is Ole Miss has, and part of it is Ole Miss's fault. I say that. Hugh Freeze is why the way he acted is why 2013's discourse is the way it was, right? It's the way he acted. The I do no wrong, holier than thou. If you have facts of a violation, send him to compliance, all that crap. And then the faking injuries thing, that was a Kiffin thing, right? And he took something that everybody does and he blew it up and made a mockery of it. And it was embarrassing. But in this case, Dabo's the one that did it, and Ole Miss is not, for right or wrong, maybe it was the right decision because it kind of has gone away, and Farrelly's going to suit up, so who cares? But no statement, no press conference, nothing at all. And eventually they're going to be asked about it. What are they going to say? I'm very curious about that. LSU looks plain bad at baseball so far. Yeah. There's only so many midweek games that you can lose. You know, I mean, you can drop a weird one and it's okay, but they're losing too many. I appreciate the kind words, guys. Thank you. Is Beard leaving? What's your take on it? You got to have somewhere to go if you want to leave. Somebody's got to want to take you. Other people disagree with this, and that's fine. The whole got on the coach's show and committed to the program thing it's better. It is most certainly better than not hearing that. But if you're reading into that with any depth, that's a mistake, because there are example after example after example after example of coaches committing to their program during the season and then leaving anyway. It's not particularly fair to the guys that are actually telling the truth. But the reality is so many of them have said those things and then left anyway, that reading into that is a mistake. You shouldn't do it. You shouldn't listen to what the coach said on the coach's show about, I'm committed to winning here, and turn that into, oh my God, he's staying. That's great. And here's the thing. Maybe I'm being too harsh. Maybe I am. They have lost 11 of their last 12 games. Being panic worried about that coach leaving is odd to me. I think it would be better if he stayed. Don't get me wrong. I think he's a quality coach. He took Ole Miss to the second Sweet 16 ever. He's got a great track record, all of the things. But some people are acting as if this is a guy that, is near the top of the SEC and is a surefire lock to the tournament again. And that's not what this season is. You took a lot of money and all of the momentum for making the Sweet 16 and have completely flushed it down the toilet. Fan base is checked out already. The team has been awful on the court. Oh, yeah, they play hard. Well, that's the baseline expectation. It doesn't matter if you play hard or not. This isn't Little League, okay? It's not middle school basketball. This is the SEC with a team filled with professionals and multiple seven-figure players, possibly. These are professional basketball players. Well, at least they're playing hard. Should do nothing for you, in my opinion, because that is the bare minimum. I mean, that is the bare minimum, as their contract says, being a professional basketball player for Ole Miss, because that is what they are. And so that doesn't move me at all. What moves me is wins and losses. That's what moves me, and that's what should move you. There's this, and all fan bases do it, but there's this loyalty to coach over loyalty to program, and I don't like that. And it's every fan base, but why is there this desperate, oh my God, I hope he doesn't leave, I hope he doesn't leave, when you're watching the season that you're watching right now? It would be preferred if he doesn't, but that kind of worry of, oh my God, I hope not. Well, Are you watching the product that you're currently getting? The return on your investment is awful. I think he can fix it. I think he can turn it around, but I don't think that the season that has been had justifies the angst about whether or not that person will stay. Because the option to leave might not even be there anyway, because of how bad this season has been. Have you seen today's Talk of Champions with Ben Garrett, Brad Logan, and Hey Dad? You and Richard were brought up a few times, all in good fun. Gosh. No, I have not seen it yet. I mean, I've said here before, I like Ben a metric ton. I was glad to see that got worked out. We talked about it back during the football season, but when that whole deal went down and somebody tried to run a coup to get Ben out of the Spirit, and it backfired greatly, and that was I was glad to see it get resolved the way it got resolved. Let's put it that way. That just would have been a shame if that would have been able to stick. So I was glad to see that then. I have not checked it out yet, but I'm going to, because I was giving Haydad crap about it going into it, because I told Haydad that he was going on Mississippi First Take because they were billing it as the two of them, going at each other. Not that Ben is Stephen A. Smith, because he's not, but you know what I mean. But I've not gotten a chance to check that out yet. Richard's doing politics now, though. Couldn't be me. Could not be me. Beard is not acting like someone who is leaving. Not to say he won't, but it's better than what we saw from football. Exactly. I mean, you would rather hear those things. You would rather hear that. But to hear that and automatically just be like, oh, program's heading right back to the top. Coach is staying. Hell yeah, everybody, let's go. No, that is an overreaction to that statement as well. Coaches who, quote unquote, commit leave a lot. They do. This has to be the most disappointing basketball season in our history, right? I don't know the history of Ole Miss basketball the way a lot of you guys would, but considering the prior season, the investment, what was being said from inside of the program about how good this team was and what this team became, since I've lived here, there's not even a close second to the disappointment that the season has been. Never asked you this. I'd love a quick off the top of your head answer. What is your personal favorite sports moment as a fan of a team, and what's been your favorite Ole Miss moment? Easy, the Sinquez interception, Alabama 2014. Honestly, it was almost better that they got the call wrong first. And here's why. Because the second they showed the replay in the stadium, everybody knew what the right call was. And so you had this few minutes of like a buildup, because everybody knew, oh, he picked it off. He picked it off. He picked it off. And then when it got announced, the euphoria of, I don't know. I almost liked that better than had they gotten the call correct right away, because of the build and things like that. Yeah, I think that would be by far even better than back-to-back-to-back home runs in the national championship. That would be it. Personal favorite sports moment as a fan, though. What would be my personal favorite moment? Like that I mean, it's one of those. It's one of those. For sure. I mean, I've been lucky enough to attend the Masters. I got to see, when I was 16, I got to go to a Sunday round at Augusta with my dad. That's the Yeah, that's it. That's it. Well, I appreciate you guys. Don't forget to subscribe if you have not already. And enjoy your baseball this weekend, although the weather screwing it up. Doubleheader tomorrow. And, kind of a stinky weekend. But enjoy it anyway. We'll be just kind of watching baseball, doing the radio show tomorrow. And hope you guys have a great weekend. We'll see you Sunday at 9 o'clock. And conference play will begin after a difficult road trip to Hattiesburg for the baseball team. Basketball will mercifully come to an end here soon, and then spring practice getting started soon. So a busy sports calendar. Really appreciate you guys, and I will talk to you again on Sunday. See you then.
A SuperTalk Mississippi media production.